Hey everyone, and welcome to a special session with Metrigy and AudioCodes. I'm your host, Josh Chronister, and today we'll be discussing a few of the main points from Metrigy's recent white paper on successfully integrating Microsoft Teams and Contact Center. Today I have with me Irwin Lazar, President at Metrigy, and Gidi Adlersberg, Director of Conversational Interaction Center here at AudioCodes. Welcome, gentlemen.
Yeah,
Thanks,
hi Josh.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad you could be here. So I think we should just jump right into the conversation. What do you guys think?
Sounds great.
All right, let's do it. So first topic we're going to cover here is UC and CC consolidation. And first question is, how do you see unified communications and contact center converging? What is causing companies to want to integrate and unify these two platforms?
Sure, I can start. So in our research, we've seen a strong trend toward the consolidation of contact center and communications. The companies want to, about 44% of companies in our research are either planning or already consolidating. And we're also seeing significant growth in Microsoft Teams as a communication platform. So a lot of that consolidation integration is evolving into that, trying to make Teams more effective as a communication platform and extend it into the contact center. And really the driver for that is to give everyone a single platform that they can use for managing their calls, their chats, to better connect the contact center agents in the contact center with back office personnel that they can rely on to help them support customer interactions. And also we're seeing a lot of interest in taking some of the capabilities that are offered by an integrated solution, using those to support a variety of different contact center scenarios. So what we call informal contact centers, supporting help desk projects, things that exist outside that traditional customer-facing contact center.
Yeah, maybe I'll add to that. By the way, I'll say it's pretty cool to have a session with Metrigy in general, and even more so with Irwin, because I guess it's that interesting combination of a research firm like Metrigy bringing the research-based insights into this. And then, it's very interesting to hear Irwin, covers this, because we're seeing the same, but from the field angle, right? So to kind of translate what Irwin is saying about consolidation of UCaaS and contact center, yes, it's that one idea of one platform for both your, company communication, but also customer-facing comms or customer experience. And definitely, what Irwin referred to as informal contact centers, something that we like to call employees beyond the contact center, right? So to give this a bit more of a concrete angle, we talk about departments like sales and HR and legal departments and travel desks that, you ask them, do you need contact center in your life? 80% of them do not know what is a contact center solution, right? But when you ask them more concrete questions like, do you need a better way to land a call with the right person in your team? Could you use some automation on the way in? Could you benefit from better reporting and analytics of the actual, traffic in and out of your department? The answer is going to be yes all day long. So yeah, that's kind of our field take, if you will, of that convergence and the idea of bringing those capabilities to more than just the classic agents that are out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it seems like Microsoft has a pretty clear play here in the customer experience market. And have stepped into the contact center market, especially with both the Qs app and the Dynamics 365 contact center. Where do you see these two fitting in?
Yeah, so indeed, I think the past few months have probably been the most active for Microsoft in the CX space, right? I mean, it started back in late March, Enterprise Connect, when we all saw Microsoft announcing the Qs app. And then just, 3 weeks ago, when they announced the new and revamped Dynamics 365 contact center. So when it comes to the Qs app, I guess what we're seeing is Qs app being kind of an upgrade, if you will, to the Teams auto attendance and call queues, right? So completing even additional functionality that was missing with auto attendance and call queues like supervisor live monitoring or real-time reporting and stuff like that. Now, one very interesting thing, when you take a look at the announcements around the Queues app and the content around it from Microsoft, let me tell you one thing you're not going to find there is contact center, okay? And when we ask Microsoft, like, okay, so what's your take of all of that? The answer that we get is that actually it's more about completing the Teams phone feature set, right? So you have those massive enterprises that are migrating from a legacy Cisco, Avaya, Mitel, and so on to Teams. They want to know that their thousands of IVR trees and call queues have an answer on Teams. So the Teams Queues app is definitely kind of Microsoft's way of telling those enterprises, yes, we got you covered. And when you transition to Teams phone, all those trees and call queues will not be left behind. I'll say that another thing that's interesting about the Queues app, it is the first time that we are seeing Microsoft looking at monetizing, those capabilities. So Queues app does require a Teams premium license and requires each agent to have a Teams phone system license. So definitely starting to see Microsoft, I guess, just a bit more aggressive in that space, looking to monetize it. When we talk about Dynamics 365, we're talking about actually the actual opposite end of the spectrum, right? About the premium end of the spectrum. So D365 Contact Center, they did announce that they're making that available to any CRM and not just the dynamic CRM, which was, something that the market has been waiting to see. I think what's interesting to say about Dynamics 365 Contact Center is the modular nature of it, right? Essentially, it's made up of many different elements, such as, Microsoft PVA, Microsoft Power BI, Azure Communication Services, Teams, a lot of different sub-components, if you will, that make up for that entire experience. Comes at a pretty hefty price tag. So here we're seeing Microsoft really going head-to-head with Genesys, NICE, Five9, the premium players in this space. So in that sense, it's very interesting to see Microsoft, with all of its experience in enterprise IT, nevertheless being kind of the new kid on the block when it comes to customer experience and looking to play in the premium space. And I bet Irwin has maybe something to add around it. I think I said a lot. So.
No, I think, Gidi, you nailed it. I mean, the only things I would add, again, around Dynamics, like you said, it's a premium solution. It's very heavily tied into the Dynamics CRM platform. So for companies that are using other CRMs, it's probably not the best solution. And then, as you mentioned on queues, it adds a lot of administrative functions around the existing queuing capabilities that Teams already had, but also at a cost. The Teams premium license is required. And, again, like you said, as companies bring over their legacy contact center platforms, they don't have an AI-powered IVR. They don't have non-voice channels. This is all in the Queues app. It doesn't have connectivity in the CRM that would allow you to do a data dip when a call comes in. So it's very much a lightweight, almost an IVR on steroids, as I've heard it called, versus a true contact center platform.
Yeah, absolutely. Good points, gentlemen. So we've touched a little bit on, why Microsoft Teams for Contact Center, but what additional features or functionality would drive a company using Microsoft Teams Phone to add on the additional contact center capabilities?
Yeah, I can start. So again, I think it's an integrated experience that I talked about earlier. You don't want to have a scenario where an agent, if they want to talk to somebody internally into their organization, they have to switch into a different application. From an administration standpoint, the ability to manage PSTN access through a single set of platforms is something that the companies look at advantageously. The ability to support multi-channel engagement, above and beyond just voice and chat, and be able to support integrations into other customer engagement channels, meeting customers where they are, being able to deliver advanced reporting, so all those kind of capabilities that today Queues doesn't have, as companies want to take advantage of Teams as their communications environment and natively integrate that into a more powerful contact center solution, they tend to look outside of the Microsoft domain.
Yeah, I guess what I would add to that is, with this, everything that's going on with Queues app and so on, it kind of almost reshaped and made the question of kind of where Teams ends and contact center begins, kind of reopened and reshuffled, how the market addresses that question, right? And yeah, I mean, when we, this is something that Microsoft sellers are extremely interested to know, right? Because now, they're looking to bring more and more enterprises to Teams Phone. They want to leverage as much Microsoft capabilities as possible. When is it that they actually need to bring a third party now that Queues app is there? So yeah, just like Irwin said, we kind of see the same. So when we talk about things like intelligent routing, skill-based routing, maybe a more kind of a rich reporting interface, deep CRM connection that goes beyond a simple CRM screen pop-up or a data deep in the CRM. That's kind of where even Teams, even with Queues app, kind of stops, and Microsoft needs to reach out to the partner community and bring in a contact center solution to complete and give a full answer to the customer requirements.
Well, Gidi, you transitioned us perfectly into the next point that we're going to be talking about, and that is kind of the middle ground between the Queues app and the Dynamics 365 Contact Center. And that is the nearly 30 Microsoft Teams certified contact centers that there are now. At some point, these features that are prevalent in most of these 30 certified contact centers will become a commodity. How should a customer evaluate these competing Teams contact centers?
Yeah, and that's a huge one for me, Josh. I mean, by the way, are we sure it's 30? Maybe as of today, it's already more than that, right? I mean, there are so many contact center solutions out there. And I mean, in general, not only contact center, but just in general, the more cloud evolves, features are becoming commoditized, right? And I always like to say, if you took those 30 or maybe more players and put them all on one big feature table, you would see little to no difference between the players. And what I see in the field is that this creates a pretty serious buyer confusion, because buyers are used to think through features, and they're like, oh, I need feature A, B, and C. Who's the player that's going to answer that requirement? But now the answer is there are 30 players that can answer that requirement. So this brings up a new question of, okay, how do I then choose one out of these 30? And I'll keep this high level. We don't want to dive in too much in this session, I guess. But for me, it's about features versus experience. Okay, so it's not about today. In today's technology world, it's no longer about, do you have callback? Can you do data dips? It's about, or do you have real-time reporting? Those would all be a V on a feature table. But how is that delivered? How is your real-time reporting look like compared to someone else? Okay, how is a specific feature delivered? How easy it is to use? And also things that go beyond or kind of go missing between the lines of a feature table. So something like reliability and uptime. Okay, that's not something you're going to find on a feature table. What is the level of uptime of your contact center solution? Many players say they do conversational AI. Is it easy to use? Do I need to do my own integration or not? Commercial model. What's your commercial model looks like, and so on. So these are all examples for things that we believe that are part of an overall experience, not necessarily coming to expression in the form of feature A, feature B, feature C, but rather a more holistic experience, how features are actually delivered. Are they easy to use, and what's the overall experience for the customer that's out there?
Yeah, I think to add to that, not all integrations are alike. So there may be 30, team certified contact centers that, or more, as Gidi mentioned, that are coming every day. But there are a variety of different ways that the companies can certify their contact center solutions into teams. So it's worth looking at those different models. We do discuss these in the issue paper. And I think a variety of other areas, again, just to add on to what Gidi said, how well is the management integrated? Can you manage everything potentially through a single interface? Can you take advantage of unified telephony integration options so that you can connect Teams phone for your non-contact center users to the PSTN using that same approach that you're connecting your contact center to the PSTN. So you can simplify management, simplify carrier relationships, take advantage of those Azure communication services to add additional functionality in. And then again, a lot of it, even though there are a lot of features that are at feature parity, there's also a lot of advanced features. So things like, again, as Gidi mentioned, things like reporting and analytics. And then lastly, I would say, just how the platform is sold. Some vendors sell their contact center solutions purely on a pure seat basis. Others provide flexible usage-based billing, so that could potentially save you money if you have a pool of agents, if you're a seasonal type organization that ramps up, say, around the holidays and ramps back down, at different times a year. So, there's still a lot of differentiation happening within the market. And I think there'll continue to be as all of these vendors look for ways that they can differentiate themselves.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. So if we're not talking about the unified communications and contact center converging, is typically something around AI. AI is, quickly becoming a key element of the contact center. Irwin, let's start with you. Where do you suggest organizations should start, with the agent or the customer experience?
Yeah, we definitely have to talk about AI, right? That's the topic of the day right now. So we recently published a study called AI for Business Success. We went out to about 600 companies and gathered data about what they're doing, looking predominantly at the contact center side. And that's a great question. Should you focus on agent or should you focus on customer experience? And I don't think it's mutually exclusive. What we have found is that the majority of people in our research are saying that they're focusing on agent experience right now because they feel that will lead to better customer experience. So they're looking at, how can I improve workflows? How can I improve call management? How can I improve or even be able to save time that agents would spend recapping calls? How can I enable AI as a coaching tool to help agents solve problems more quickly by having a knowledge base at their fingertips? And then even looking at sentiment of agents. Are agents stressed? What's happening on the voice calls? A lot of this is still, early days, and the products are rapidly developing. But I think right now the focus is a little bit more on the agent experience side, on that idea that happier agents not only reduces turnover but also improves customer experience.
Yeah, maybe I'll add to that kind of as a closing remark that AI is been around for quite some time, but in terms of adoption, and especially in the CX area, it's still fairly new, right? And we've seen stories like the one that took place in Air Canada and other examples where AI can go pretty wild, right? If it's not safeguarded, if it's not being implemented in a control and a planned fashion. So definitely, based on what we see in the field, I can definitely second what Irwin is saying here, that, when you bring AI in the hands of an agent, it's a safer experience because there's an agent in between the AI and the customer. Whereas if you put kind of a customer-facing AI, you really want to make sure that it's, doing what it was intended and designed to do. So, in AudioCodes, we talk a lot about what we call function-specific AI capabilities. So kind of like, how do we limit the playground of AI to make sure that it can do a lot, but in a very confined, specific area without letting it, go wild and have, another kind of an Air Canada kind of story. So definitely a lot of focus on the agent side and a lot of focus on narrowing down the use case and making sure we deliver AI in a capable yet protected fashion.
Great stuff. All right, I believe that about wraps us up. So thank you both for joining us today and sharing your knowledge on the UC and contact center consolidation, especially within Microsoft Teams. Some nice points there at the end related to AI. That's always seems to be part of the conversation too.
Yeah, for sure. You gotta end with AI, right?
For everyone who is watching or listening, thank you for joining us. If you'd like to learn more about what we discussed today or get a copy of that white paper that Metrigy put together, successfully integrating Microsoft Teams and Contact Center, feel free to reach out to us. We'll also leave a link to that in the description or within the show notes, wherever you're listening or watching. But that is a wrap for us today. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you all next time.